Hello everyone, I'm Rob Mithra. It's been a little bit. This is just going to be a quick discussion update video. Just because I know how it works, I'm just going to do it really quick and summarize it real quick, and then we'll have the actual discussion. Season 3 is over, so that's good for Kingdom Death. I'm going to go back, do Massive Darkness. The episode 50 of Season 1 is finally done, recorded. Just have to edit it, so it's going to be out soon. Okay, so that's the real quick. But now if you want to stick around, we'll just talk real quick about it. So I ran a poll about what it is everybody wanted me to do between now that Season 2 had hit like a lull point, right? Lightning Story has finished as far as I can do it now, and we'll decide if we want to go on with Season 2, right? So we reached like a good break point. And before I continued Season 2, I really wanted to finish episode 50 of Season 1 and the prologue for Season 2 and then the finale for Season 2, and then I'd continue Season 2, right? Or not, it's like the epilogue for Season 2. Prologue and epilogue. So we can get lightning in and out. So that was the whole thing. And I also said, you know what, I've been working on CCG Monster. So that poll, everyone was like, you know what, just besides for do Massive Darkness as you said, and I did, and that was, whew. Look, I've also recorded the next thing for Massive Darkness. It doesn't get any shorter. That's a thing. It will be a little bit shorter now that I don't need to explain all the rules all the time, but I could have picked a better campaign. The problem with Massive Darkness 1 was the game was way too long, right? It was way too long, longer than it ever needed to be. And I already knew that, and that's why I didn't like really Massive Darkness 1. There was other reasons why I didn't like it too, but so I don't know why I thought, I figured, you know what, I'm going to do the intro campaign. It would be cool. I'm going to use this Massive Darkness 1, do all this stuff that's familiar with Massive Darkness 1, use Massive Darkness 2 rules, throw all this huge, crazy stuff into the game, and then I'll play the original Massive Darkness and see what the new campaign's like. It's still super long. Confirmed. So I don't know why I did that. So now I've done the next mission of that campaign. It doesn't get any shorter, so that's taken a long time to edit. So that's one thing. The other thing, let's talk about the other thing that came up in the poll. So the other thing was finish your other Kingdom Death stuff, right? So I did. I've been working really hard on the monster, right? The custom monster I'm making with the help from CCG. That is really difficult. I thought it wasn't going to be as difficult, but that has underestimated that task greatly. Not only just even making things clear takes forever, and then getting play tests in takes forever. Testing myself takes forever. It's a lot. It's incredibly a lot. I underestimated it, right? I guess I underestimated it because I had done Curse, and that didn't include monsters, and I worked on that as I was still making videos, as I was still doing going to work, doing all this other stuff. That was like my third project, and I still made that way bigger than it needed to be. So I was like, well, I'll just make, just a monster with a couple story events. Yeah, that's not the case at all. So I took the last, 3 weeks to do that as well, to finish it. Did not finish it, but I've gotten to the point where I think I can just go back to passively working on it while making videos and doing all this stuff, right? Because I've gotten the monster to a point where it's playable and the rules are tight and everything. And that took forever. That monster is easily like nothing that... everything that the CCG team does is a lot like nothing that KDM plays like, right? But this is ridiculous. I pushed probably as far as you can go with minion combat. I'll tell you that. I don't think you can take minion combat any farther than it is with this fight. So, that took a long time. Getting playtests in takes a long time. But I've gotten the fight to a point where it's really good, right? I don't know. Personal bias, obviously. But I meant, it's understandable, right? I've got a sideboard. I've got all the rules explained. I still need to clean it up after playtest and stuff, but I've gotten to the point where I don't think I need to just sit down and reread every single card. Right now it's just editing the hit location cards, editing the AI cards, tweaking them to balance it out. Right? So the fight itself is there. The mechanics are done. Some of the gear is even done. So I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. And then the other thing was finish 50, which I've now done. Now let's talk about episode 50. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, episode 50. I've actually recorded it 4 times. This is the 4th time now. Originally, it was going to be like it was in season 1, where it was like a SNES or our old school RPG cutscene, right? Obviously, I'm very influenced by RPGs. And then I would just read it, or just do all text again, just like it was in the original season 1 when the 2 other episodes with story happened. It turned out to be long and just not very good. I didn't like it, so I scrapped it. Then I did, well, okay, since I've already got this all written up, I've already got everything where I know where I want to go, maybe I'll just narrate it, right? And then I narrated it as you would a narrator. And then I read the parts as you would read a story. Also, not good, right? I scrapped that too. Wasn't good. So now I'm left with, okay, now I've written this all up, and I don't like narrating it, and I don't like leaving it to where people are reading it. What's the next thing I can do? So next it was, well, maybe I'll describe it. Right? Maybe I'll use it to where the point where it's like the game is being played of itself, and I'll record dice rolls, and I'll just put the dice rolls on the green screen, then the event will happen, and it will play out like Kingdom Death. That took a long time to edit. Once I did like the first 10 Lantern Years, it was also the same as what I originally recorded. So that was scrapped as well. It just doesn't translate well. So then, using these last 2 weeks, I had to think of how I want to do this, right? So the way that I've done it now, the best way I could possibly think of doing it, or the way that I found the most entertaining, because what I did was I went and looked and I was like, what is it that I like? What can I compare this to, and what videos do I like that do this kind of thing? And there's a lot of Dungeons & Dragons channels out there. Now, I'm not an animator. Obviously, there's tons of people who animate their Dungeons & Dragons stories and all that stuff. But then there's long-form videos of Dungeons & Dragons where they just tell you about like their campaign and the highlights of their campaign. Their session, or they remember this, and this thing happened to their character. They're like the catch-ups, or like, so like that. So that's how I've decided to do it. What I'm going to do is, it's going to be me. It works better. The other reason why, when I was editing this now, that I've noticed is, once I've reshot intros and stuff, I can redo it to the point where I can convey what Kingdom Death is to people who don't necessarily, watch Season 1, because the way it was the original two times, you needed to watch Season 1. With me just explaining what Kingdom Death is, and then explaining it as my campaign, right? And explaining it that Kingdom Death is a narrative story device. That's what the game is of itself. It's just a narrative story game. Just like Dungeons & Dragons, I can make it more relatable. And it was much more entertaining now that I've seen it being edited. So that's what I ended up doing. It's a long-form video of just what happened, my own personal headcanon, explaining both what happened in-game, explaining the lore of the setting of Kingdom Death, and then explaining what happened in my headcanon. Just like you would a D&D session and all that stuff. That's how it came down to. Much better. I'm so glad that I scrapped those other 2, rather than just doing it to get it done and then putting it out. This 4th time recording it now, it's so much better. I just need to finish editing it. I'm so happy I did that. So that's how I'll also do the prologue for Season 2 and the epilogue for Season 2. It'll be the same thing. I might even make them, well, I'll probably make them 2 videos, but I could necessarily make them 1, because it would just do the first part of Season 2. Or the first 66% of Season 2, the first 20 years. Anyway, so that's what's happened on that front. So that was the polling. Originally was, cool, you show up Master Darks 2, make those videos, so I did. Then focus on your other Kingdom Death stuff. That was the most highly rated poll result. So I did that for 2 or 3 weeks while still doing season 3. Now season 3 is also done. I had actually recorded this video the day of season 3 before I did it, because it was, I know it was only going to take like 10 minutes or something. So I just recorded it, and then I was like, all right, cool. I'll talk about how season 3 is about to be coming to an end or anything. No, season 3 is now done. So I just got rid of that other video, doing this one now. It's out on, to get this one out today. So, well, I'll probably get it out on Saturday, but, so all that is done. As to how far along the CCG monster will be, I'm really thinking it's going to be a nemesis to replace Butcher. How long that will take, I don't know. I'm hoping it will still only maybe take a couple more weeks, maybe three more weeks, and I'll have it tied up. I'm still going to focus on that heavily as I edit, because I'm not going to be recording huge amounts of gameplay. I just got to edit stuff now, which is great. So I'll be able to get videos out while I still do that. So, going forward, the CCG thing. Originally what it was I started working on this monster just to do it for CCG, as a help, like as like a thing, as a thank you for them helping me on Curse and everything. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to do this for them so they can get stuff on their Patreon. It'll be just great. That's my repayment for them for being so helpful and everything. Then that monster got completely overhauled with one they asked me to do. So then I made a monster that was similar to it, but I overhauled it. And I just took feedback from people, what they would like to see, and then I put that in there. Then, some of that stuff didn't end up working after I started getting it tested, so I had to overhaul it again to get it to work. And then those original ideas that were from that monster that I decided to just take over might need to be scrapped again. So that's the process I'm at now, is finishing up and fixing the original story events and re-theming them and all that stuff. So I don't think it will take too long, but I think it will be unique. Can't wait for it to be done. But I don't think I'm ever going to do this ever again, right? I like making homebrew content for Kingdom Death and stuff, but I would rather... I'm never going to use it. I don't use my own homebrew stuff, right? I don't, aside from D&D and stuff, but that's only when I'm DMing because you're supposed to. I don't use homebrew stuff that much, very often, almost ever. I don't use my own, for sure. I don't know why. It's just something I don't like, using my own things. Maybe it's because I feel I imbalanced it, or I heavily favored it towards what I think is broken, and then I'm fixing what I think. So maybe that's why I don't use it. But regardless, I would much rather make something that people want or request rather than make something for myself. And it just didn't work with CCG, right? I got so few playtests, so few ways to test with people, so few feedback. It's so long, right? And the pace I like to keep would be faster paced. So I think what I'd rather do going forward, I think I'm going to start doing some other stuff besides KDM on the channel. I'm still going to do season 2, maybe season 4 will start, but just to me, to do those fun things where I create homebrew and stuff like that, I think I'm not going to do monsters anymore unless it's something I really want to do. But what I'll probably do going forward is maybe some D&D content on the channel, just to make me so I don't feel lost in doing just Kingdom Death all the time. Give me another creative outlet, but it's one where I can take request, do it, make a video on something someone requested, and then I know that they're going to use it right away, rather than me doing something at someone's request, never getting feedback on it, leaving it there forever, and then having to now fix it, even when that was a whole waste, and I never got feedback on it to begin with. So it's just a waste of time. It was just a big waste of time. That's how I felt. So, with that said, that's what happened. That's where I've been for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Sorry it took so long. I'm glad I was able to still do live streams, but I'm glad I got this time done. I'm glad I got episode 50 finally done, finally behind me. I finally figured out how it is I want to do it, so I can do the season 2 episode prologue and epilogue episodes. So glad I got this. So glad I had the time to get to finish off these other projects. But, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.